Welcome to the Social Impact Journal, the podcast meeting founders, innovators, and experts driving change in our world. Welcome everybody, I'm your host Jack Farron, and today I'll be with Eric, the founder of MobiPay AgroSys Limited, an Agritech and Fintech that is working to support over 400,000 smallholder farmers in Uganda and Kenya. Eric, how are you this morning?
I'm very well, Jack, and thanks for having me on the Social Impact Journal.
It's okay, and it's quite exciting. This is our first ever in-person podcast, so we're here in Kampala. We have the background with us as well, so really good to be having our first in-person podcast.
Yeah, very true, and very exciting, and can't wait to share with your audience.
Brilliant. So let's go from the start. If you can give an introduction into who you are and your work.
Well, my name is Eric Nana Kwabena Agyei. I am the founder and managing director of MobiPay AgroSys Limited, an organization that was founded in Uganda in 2016. And we've been on the market since then and trying to, as much as possible, get into the market and support the last mile in the services that we provide to them. Awesome.
And I know you're originally from Ghana. So why did you move to Uganda? What was the story behind that?
Well, my movement to Uganda was in search of greener pastures, at the same time in search of love. So love also brought me to Uganda and found the opportunity to be here. And it has been a welcoming country for me, and a lot of work has been done here, which has made me, I think I may say now I'm more Ugandan than a Ghanaian now.
Okay. Yeah, brilliant. No, I think Uganda is a very friendly country. When I first came here about 3 years ago. So smallholder farmers are so important to the economy of Uganda. But what are the greatest challenges that you see and that you're looking to address?
Well, when you look at the Uganda economy, mainly, I think statistics shows us that almost about 64% of the population or the economy has something to do with the agriculture, and smallholder farmers happens to be the majority of the agriculture-based economy. And if you look at the challenges that they face, I think when we started MobiPay, our core aim was to make these smallholder farmers financially visible, in that access to finance was a big challenge, access to input, access to information, access to training. I know a lot has been done by the development partners, the local NGOs and international NGOs. They spent a lot in training and bringing the farmers to speed to be able to drive the economy. However, we looked at it from a point that if we can use technology to enhance this and provide services within this range, then it will be able to support them. So the market is big, as I said, very, very big, and a lot is demanded to be able to drive these smallholder farmers to be able to produce economically to support themselves and also support the economy of the country.
Okay, so how did you get started, in terms of your founding team or your first iteration of a product? Whereabouts in the country did you start, and what were those first steps?
Well, so before we formed the company, myself and my wife, who happened to be a co-founder of the company, there's some work that I did that virtually worked with rural last mile, that is working to digitize the local money order of Posta Uganda. Okay. Where we're trying to ensure that we can push that. Those days you get a paper, you write on it, you go to the postmaster, it's put into an envelope, it's sent to the other side, it is received, then money is given out. So the idea was to see how best we can put this into digital form. And during that work, when I was a consultant, I happened to travel around Uganda. And that is the time that mobile money was also coming up. This is 2009, 2010. And so I looked at it and I had an idea that if this can be done and rural people can receive money through their mobile phone, then what about providing services through agriculture, where the rural folks can also receive these services through their phones? So that is where we started working on a project to be able to start up the company. So interestingly, when we started the company, I had left my other work. Okay. And we started the company from my sitting room, and I remember very well when we first had visitors visiting us. I had to keep my children in the bedroom and had to keep somebody to keep them so that they don't make noise.
Yeah.
So we started from my bedroom. So started with my wife. That time she was still working with Posta Uganda. So after a year, then she resigned and joined me. Then started with one IT developer person who had just come back from school. I just completed school, so was also finding their feet. And then one lady that we've worked with since then is still with us, heading our. So in terms of geographical area, we started from the east, where when we started, we got an opportunity with the United Nations Capital Development Fund to digitize the maize value chain. So we started with AgroWays, and it was a very big opportunity that we had back then. The money was good, a big money for a startup, not like a loan or something, but it was a grant for us to start. And we had a very big company, AgroWays. So our first product that went out was the agro-based version 1 that went out. So it was still being tested. We had not fully tested it in the market. So that opportunity gave us ability to test in the market and see how the market will flow with it. When we started, we didn't have the initial money to start before UNCDF funds would come in. So I sold my wife's car. And then
I was going to think about that. Because you got to the UNCDF funding, but what were the sacrifices you had to make at the very start? So the wife's car was gone, and that gave the first startup capital.
The wife's car needed to go. It was a very fancy vehicle that she had brought, the Honda Odyssey. I remember it very. I think we sold it to a DJ because it was a very fancy with a double exhaust pipe, and it was all of. The guy had chased us for a certain period of time, wanting to buy the vehicle. So we said, now we've got this opportunity. We need the money to start, to show commitment. So we stole the vehicle, and then we started the work. The UNCDF came through. Then those are some of the things. So sometimes even when we started, we didn't have the vehicles to be able to move out. We didn't have the motorbikes. So sometimes myself, I would jump onto a bus, get to the place, work, jump onto a motorbike, go to the field and work. But when we started and funds started employing, opening up offices across the country, getting our own vehicles and getting our own motorbikes to be able to support us.
So the first project in the East, so digitizing the maize value chain, you mentioned the first version of that product. So what were the learnings on that pilot project, and what did you need to change after that first project?
Yeah, so when we started with the agro-based version 1, actually in March 2024, version 3 will be coming out. We went back into because the thought that we had with the system that we developed, sometimes you have a vision, you develop something, but when you go to the field, it starts teaching you what needs to be done and how the market actually revolves. So if you are an entrepreneur and you also don't change based on what the market is telling you, then your system may fail out. Yeah, so we worked with that, and then that is when during the introduction we made mention of the fintech side, because when we started working, our thought was to only be in the Agritech space. But then there was a demand for payment and collections. So that led us to develop our MobiPay payment platform. So when you hear the name MobiPay AgroSys Limited, so MobiPay is the fintech side. So MobiPay itself is a product. So when you go onto our payment platform, the name is MobiPay. Then the AgroSys is the Agritech system that we use in here. So we developed the payment system that also we integrated with MTN and Airtel back then, even including Orange and UTL. We integrated with all of them, but unfortunately they fell off during the period where they couldn't sustain themselves in the market. And currently we've integrated it with Equity Bank. So that is the product came up with. Even the interface, how we developed our platform, we had to listen to the market. How can the market use this? Then we went into the USSD, IVR, all came up based on what we found from the market and how best the farmers could use the platform.
Okay. So the first project, that was 2016?
So yeah, later 2016, but we went to market, I think, June 2017.
June 2017, so 6 years on, you're now working with 400,000 farmers. So what's happened in between? You know, what was the scale-up strategy, and what type of partners do you work with now?
Yeah, so the idea was for us to build a critical mass. So the first 2 years was more of getting in as much farmers as possible. But the cost of also onboarding farmers is very, very high. Therefore, we deliberately decided to work with local and international NGOs because these organizations normally work with the farmers. So they have VSLA groups, they have farmer cooperative, they have rural producer organizations. So anytime there is an RFA to digitize a farmer organization activities, we applied. And fortunately, we got a lot of them. So work with USAID under the Feed the Future project, under the Producer Organization Activity Project. We work with TechnoServe, we work with Self-Help Africa, we've worked with Strom Foundation. So through these collaborations, including the International Labour Organization, Climo Trust, we've worked with all of them. So through these organizations, we're able to build the mass. And currently what we are doing at the moment is that now doing business development where we are adding on more services so that we can have active users on the platform for 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days, and then also the number of transactions that comes in here. So that is a strategy that we employ to be able to do that. Other than that, we wouldn't have achieved those targets. So we more or less, we got some grants from some of these partners. Some of them were subcontracting that we work with them to be able to achieve the targets.
Yeah, no, brilliant. So you mentioned about talking, MobiPay is the fintech, AgroSys is the Agritech side of things. So you're building out those services. So what type of services are you currently offering to the farmers?
Yeah, so from the onset of profiling them into the system where we have their data, we are able to determine also their needs. So in this case, we also bring in the service providers. These are the input dealers, these are the market, these are the financial institutions. So we bring them on board and then we set up their product on the platform. So more or less, we create a rail on through which services can be delivered to the farmers. So like I said, when we started earlier on, we did with the mobile app, which we also noticed that there was a problem with connectivity in the rural communities. Then we reverted into SMS, but sometimes you find that SMS do not reach them. When they also send the SMS, doesn't come through the system. So we went also to the USSD, where you can easily dial and be able to use. So the services are set on the platform. So some of these development partners like Climo Trust, for instance, they also have extension services where they give extension services to the farmers. So the farmers can subscribe, get the extension information. Again, the input dealers can set up their product. Like currently we're working with Equity Bank, who has also set up their product and services. So farmers can apply for loans. Farmers can open their bank account, and even during their savings and loans, it can go into their bank account system. So these are the services that we have put on. And currently we've also integrated a platform with MasterCard, which enable us to give out cards to the farmers. So every payment that is, they can also do that. Then critically, as they are doing all these things, it's creating their financial visibility where the financial institution can lend to them without asking for collateral.
You mentioned MasterCard, and so I'd love to learn more about what those cards do and how the farmers can actually use them.
So the card is more or less to authenticate the farmers on the platform at the moment. Next year, it's also going to facilitate the payment. So as you know, the Uganda landscape, there is a bit of connectivity issue and then even access to the phone. I think currently we have a lot of access to phone within rural community, in that in the household, someone somewhere has a phone. But then if we come to the farmers themselves getting the phones, then it becomes a problem because when you even look at the means with which you can get the SIM card is a national ID, and most of them also don't have it in there. So therefore, what we've done here is that we've integrated the card, what we call the community pass card. So this card will hold a biometric of the farmer. And since the farmer has been profiled onto our platform, any activity that they carry out without a phone, they can do online, offline processing where they just tap. Because through this, we are giving our agents a gadget that enable the reading of the card through NFC. So the farmer comes to a meeting for savings and loans meeting, and they have gone for particular training. They will be able to tap the card on the device to authenticate that it is them that has actually come in. If they request for input, they can tap, and the data goes under their name. If they are buying, they are selling their commodities, they can also use that to also receive payment. That is next year when we move into the payment processing with Equity Bank. So this is how the card comes in to create the identity and authenticate the data on the platform. That Eric is a farmer, has been trained, and indeed it is Eric. Because when you tap the card, you also use your biometric to confirm that you've used that, the person has used that card.
And I guess digital literacy, it also comes into this because you can give access to the phone, but also training on digital literacy can be a very big challenge. So this card is also, I guess, very, very easy to use.
Sure. It's very, very easy to use. We also training the farmers, and I think as we deploy them, we'll be picking up some of the lessons that comes in. So especially, for instance, like if it is that a farmer has been trained on financial literacy, how do you confirm that the farmer has come for the training? Normally, we do paper signing where the person signs in and says this, we have gone in there. But with this, it's also going to show that, yes, Eric was there. Because with Eric, it's only my biometric, my thumb. That shows me that I have gone to a training. I can't give it to my friend to come. The card will not work.
Right.
So that helps us also. And through this, we've also created an agent network that is going to support in the training of the farmers and sensitizing them on how the card will be used.
Yeah, going on to that agent network, they're called digital community entrepreneurs now.
Yes.
How do you recruit them? I'm really interested to find out how you recruit them and what is their role and how actively engaged are they with the farmers?
Yeah, so digital is basically an enabler. Yeah, so with a part of the world where we work in and the client base is mainly the last mile. Therefore, when you put digital tools in there, it becomes a bit of challenge. And like you rightly said, the digital literacy, there's a huge digital divide in here. And even in the cities, you find that some of the phones that are used, the smartphones, we use them basically for call box. We are not using the actual benefit of the smartphone. Yeah. So the digital community entrepreneur, first of all, we strategically called them that, digital community entrepreneur. The digital means that this person is the face between the system and the user. Yep. So therefore, be able to understand the digital means with which all activities can be done. And then we talk about the community. So each of the digital community entrepreneurs that we recruit works with about 400 farmers. Okay. That becomes their community. That becomes their client base. That becomes their service base.
Yep.
Then the entrepreneur is somebody that needs to see problems and see them as opportunities. So when we pick you, although you are an agent, we train you to go beyond what you are doing with that. You yourself need to identify a solution that you can provide to that community of 400 people that you have and be able to serve them. Yep. So that is how we came about with the name and the structure. So when we train them, we only don't train them on the services that we are providing, but we are training them on an entrepreneurship where they themselves can be able to see an opportunity. If you have 400 people within a community and there's something that is hindering them, we should be able to identify it as an opportunity, as a business opportunity. And we always tell them that you need to look at it from a business point of view. Money. Whatever you provide must come back with money. If it doesn't come back with money, then you are not being an entrepreneur. Yep. So that is how we recruit them. But the recruitment process is that we actually go down to the community and we work with the farmer groups to be able to recommend. Although we look at youth so that they can move, they can dedicate a bit of time to us to be able to work in this particular area. So normally it's somebody who can read and write, know a bit of mathematics and understand the gadget. Not too advanced, but intermediate where I can make phone calls, I can receive calls, I can check apps, and all this, then you are recruited. But you must have your national ID and must also be recommended by the local authorities. So if the LC1 or the church leader or an elder in the community recommend you, because we give you these gadgets, which we don't want you to run away with them. We must serve the community.
So, and how many of those entrepreneurs do you currently have in Uganda?
So currently in Uganda, we have about 120 that we are working with, but the goal is by March next year, would have increased them to about 376 of them because of the card that is coming out. Right. So the card, we need that real to be able to. So MasterCard is supporting us to bring in additional 276 to augment the 120 that we have.
Right. And they get compensated through the service provision and the various products that are offered through the platform. Do they get a commission from that? How does it work?
Yeah, so they get commissions for that. When they do the bank account opening, there's a commission that they get. If the loan process starts, there's a commission that they get. In this case, for instance, issuing of the cards, they get a commission on that. So every service that they do, they get their commission. And I can tell you for a fact that if you have an entrepreneur who is very hardworking, at the end of the month can go home with about 1.5 million Uganda shillings. That's almost about $400 at the end of the month. Yeah. So every work that they do, they get their commission because we don't pay them permanent salary. So they do that. But when we train them, we call them for training. We now give them a bit of support. And when they are starting, we also give them some support to be able to find their feet in the market, like transport allowance, airtime.
And how many of them are dedicated full-time to MobiPay AgroSys, or some of them doing that as a side hustle with other work?
Yeah, so in the structure that we have, the DC is not a dedicated full-time service provider to MobiPay. So what we do is that we actually encourage them that they have to work smart. So currently, none of them are permanent staff of MobiPay. They are agents, so they are commission-based agents, and we ensure that their services that they are providing. So probably dedicate some time during the day or during the week to the activities that you are doing, and then you can do other services to the community or to other partners. So you have some agents who are even agents of us, but they're also working with other development partners in the community, even the district. Especially most of them, we find them working with like the Standard Bureau for data collection in the field. Yeah.
Even for a part-time, they can still earn some very good money. You said 1.5 M if they work particularly hard could be a target. So it's quite a profitable side hustle for them.
Yes, it's quite a profitable activity for them, and we've seen some of them that, although are not permanent workers, but they're doing it on permanent basis, where they are constantly with the farmers providing the services for them. Especially now that we are going into the harvest season, especially for Simpson, we see a lot of them working closely with the farmers on daily basis in there. So although they are not permanent to us, but we find that they do their work on permanent basis because of the commissions that they get. Yeah.
The business is clearly growing at a rapid rate. But what does success mean to MobiPay? If you're looking now 5 years down the line and looking back, what is success for MobiPay, and how are you measuring that?
Well, I think for us as MobiPay, we're looking at success from obviously the financial point of view, where the company has broken even and is be able to do a lot of activities on its own. But the ultimate goal is in the next 5 years to work with about 1 million farmers, of which we are also measuring success as within the 30-day cycle, a farmer should have done at least 4 transactions on the platform. That we measure as success. And when we are able to achieve this, we'll be able to see the financial gain part of the business. But currently, we have about 1 touch per 30 days for about 25% of the 400,000 that we have on our platform. So our goal is to promote that, and then also add on to the number. So within now to the next 5 years, we have additional 600,000 that we want to add on board, and at least 75% of that 1 million being active per 4 transactions per 30-day cycle on the platform. That is how we'll look at success. Obviously, MobiPay is also a social enterprise. So therefore, we want to see what impact are we making in the community. How many farmers are digitally transacting? Like the 75%, we can go and we see an old mama in the field, 75 years, is able to order her input, able to sell on the platform, able to get agronomy on the platform via the phone. That is also another success that we really want to measure.
This is a question I've asked to a few founders. As the business has grown, how have you delegated responsibility to other members of the team? Has that been a challenge for you, and how have you gone about that process?
It's a challenge that I took bold decision to really sort it out. I think 2 years ago we had an unexpected situation where it also triggered something in me to what happens if this had gone down the drain. I think 2 years ago, we had an unfortunate situation, had an accident. I lost my wife, who was the co-founder. I was also hospitalized for some time. So I couldn't move. So at that point, it triggered in my mind, what is the business continuity here? So since that time, we've made a deliberate effort. We recruited additional hands on board. We're now giving them the trainings for them to understand the business. As an entrepreneur, sometimes you have the mindset, what you want to do. But bringing it out to people to also look at it becomes a big of a challenge. But as me, as a founder of a company and the surviving founder of the company, that both of us would have gone because we're in the same vehicle. So both of us could have gone, and what would have happened to the company? So that has brought a mindset change that, you know what, we need to empower the youth that are in. And obviously, I'm the only person who is not a youth in the company. All of them are youth. So currently, as we are recording this, there are a lot of them out there doing their business. We brought in head of operations, we brought in head of monitoring, learning, and evaluation. We brought in head of customer service. So these are all youth people who are picking it. Yes, sometimes it's very difficult for them on the field to understand. Some have spent only 6 months, some are 1 year down the line, they are struggling. But the effort is that stay behind them, push them, train them, support them until when they get to understand the business and they'll be able to run with it. So that is one of the things that I got from this. I learned it the hard way. So, but anytime I speak with my fellow entrepreneurs, I've been advising them, hey, you know what? Don't wait until what happened to me happens to you before you take that decision. But this is a company that we want to see it becoming the bigger company that we see, not a family business. Yeah, it started as a family business, but then it needs to go out there. But we can only go out there when we empower people, the staff, to be able to get the mindset from the entrepreneur and move it to the next level. So that is basically what we have been doing.
Yeah. And I guess it's also a massive success for MobiPay that you're able to transform the careers of the youth within your team. So giving them the responsibility, giving them the qualifications to go out and improve their abilities in their career. That must also be quite proud for you.
Yeah, very, very proud. I'm seeing now. I sit in. So currently, I'm even not in the staff meeting. I'm not a member of it. The staff came up with a decision that okay, in terms of disciplinary, in terms of field work and what have you, MDs out of it. We will only report to them. So you see them start doing their own activities. And I was so fascinated. The head of IT came to me and said, "You know what? We've run version 2 for almost 3 years now. We need to go to version 3." So we started working on version 3, and these are the things that we need. Seeing them, we need a server, bought the server, it has been installed and come in there. So it's very interesting that I sit back and look at them. Yes, these guys are empowered now. They are taking decisions. They are going for conferences. They are going for workshops. So currently most of the workshops, maybe even travel outside, I let them go see it, meet with your peers, get to understand this. And so it's very fascinating that I'm seeing that what I had in my head is being translated into careers of people who are now picking it up and seeing it as a business.
That must be an amazing moment. So it's sitting back, and now the team can do a lot of that work, and they have those opportunities. I think that's every founder's dream to be in that position. So we have the world map behind us, and this is the Social Impact Journal. We talk to guests from all over the world. So I know you work with smallholder farmers currently in Uganda and Kenya. But on this world map, where has MobiPay AgroSys taken you? I'm sure it's taken you to many corners of the world.
Well, yes, it's taken me to a lot of places. I think we've had the opportunity to go to the United States. We've gone to Fiji. We've gone on the continent. We've gone to Senegal, Nigeria, Zambia. We've been to DRC, Kenya, of course, Rwanda. Then Europe also, we've gone to the Netherlands, we've gone to Finland. So these are areas that we've been to, and a lot of opportunities has come in. Sometimes also, yes, it takes you there, but if you don't take time, you also get excited about the plane and going in there. So sometimes some of them we also slow down a bit of there, but we've had opportunities to present at Harvard University, to the African Business Summit. We've done all these things before. So yes, it comes with a bit of opportunity for you to be also explore and see what, like I was fascinated when I visited the Slash conference in Finland. It's very, very seeing futuristic, what is happening, what is going to happen in the next 5 years, 6 years. You can easily see it from that side. And when you get back home, it gives you the opportunity to also expand on what you are doing.
For sure. And we're coming to the end now of 2023. So looking ahead to next year, you mentioned about increasing the number of agents and working with the MasterCard Pass. But what is it exactly that you need to get to that next level? So are you looking for partnerships with new international NGOs? Are you raising funds right now?
Yeah, so we're looking at that. Currently we have a mass that we believe we can work with. That's the 400,000. So we are looking at partnerships in terms of technical. The organizations out there that can provide technical support in terms of partnership to us to be able to expand and do very well and provide the services to the farmers? Are there NGOs that are willing to work with smallholder farmers and want to partner with us to be able to do this, they are welcome. And obviously, yes, we are expanding. Of course, as we expand, we also need to expand the staff, we need to expand the services, we need to promote marketing for the more services to come on board. So we're looking at partners that provide services to these farmers are also welcome. And obviously, we're looking at investors to be able to expand the company. Yeah, obviously, I want to release some of the shares to other equal, like-minded investors who want to come in and invest with us. In this
For sure. So a question I ask to all of my guests, and I've usually done it virtually, but now you actually have your own social impact journal. So if you could write one page in this book for advice, a piece of advice or a lesson or a piece of experience for a young entrepreneur in Uganda that is just starting up a tech-based business, what would you share with them?
Well, I have seen something that is running within the tech system. I believe that as a startup, you have a vision. You have something that you want to put out on the market. Take your time, get that product out of the market, test it, and then go for investment. But don't start with investment before your product is out there. So that is my only advice that I'll give to them. Have that vision, run it over a period of time, and then you can now go for investment to be able to expand it. Because the mistake that some of us made in that we had a plan, we went with it, started working with it. But if I was not lucky and one of us did not survive, the company would have gone down now. But although we had a product in there. So I'm seeing a lot of startups going from workshop, doing pitches here and there with the aim of getting finance to come and support. But if the finance is coming, what is your traction on the ground? Yeah. So try as much, if it is 6 months that you give to yourself or 1 year that you give to, get the product, make all the mistakes, learn from it, and then if the finance comes in, you'll be able to expand properly. Other than that, you have organizations that are set up 3 years, 4 years down the line. They are no longer on the market. So my quote in that book is that test your products, learn from it, make the mistakes, have a traction on the ground, then go for the finance.
Well, thank you, Eric, for your time today on the Social Impact Journal. It's been great to hear about your stories and lessons from MobiPay, AgroSys, Limited. You're really an inspiration to many entrepreneurs, the way that you've scaled this company, your future plans, and the challenges that you've been able to get through. Thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed the episode with Eric, please make sure to subscribe or follow on our social media channels on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And be sure to catch our new episodes dropping every Monday at 9 a.m. GMT. Thank you.